Hello, what's up, everybody? Wanted to make a video today. One, because, like I've been saying the past few videos, I would like to start doing more frequent videos, but also today, something pretty major has happened. So I really wanted to talk about it. And fortunately, it's not with me, which is really nice for once. But yeah, it is something I want to talk about. One of our newer house members, the person that came after me, I talked about him in a video. I don't know how long it's been. It's been like a week or two. It's definitely been a few weeks, but he is the one that relapsed with alcohol, and he's pretty new. And I mean, he was new at that point. He still is new. I mean, well, I'd have to look at my videos, but I'm gonna say he's been here for maybe like 2 months. Now, granted, I've been here for like 4.5 months, so I'm still new, but yeah, so it's I have just a mix of feelings about it. Some, I guess, anger and some frustration. I do feel some frustration with kind of not necessarily that person, but just the situation. And I think a lot of that is more, it's not because of them or them doing that, but it reminds me of myself and how I've messed up a bazillion times, even when things were going like getting better and I was in a good place. It didn't, I just couldn't get my ish together. But also sadness. I just feel, really sad and just sorry, because I can also, again, relate with myself. And, addiction of substance abuse is a very challenging condition. I mean, a challenging, it's just a huge challenge. And yeah, sorry, I'm like kind of lost for words right now. So I do apologize, but yeah, this is weighing somewhat heavily on me. I don't want to say pretty heavily, but I unfortunately can't say that it's not really affecting me. But yeah, just sad and sorry for him. Because again, I've been there a bazillion times, and so I don't know. I don't really know what else to kind of say about, like, just like I said, just a bunch of feelings. And it's still, I guess, a little more context, because I'm still not in shock per se, but still kind of absorbing and processing it, because we did have a house meeting earlier today, like around 4 or 5 p.m. Right now it's 9:38, according to my computer. So yeah, still pretty recent, but I believe from the sounds of it, I don't know the full details, but I think that was yesterday, and it sounds like he did self-report, but not to the housing supervisor or any of us at the house, but to the housing manager. And again, this is all hearsay, and I mean, the details don't really matter, I suppose, in terms of the overall picture, the big picture, but just still, so you guys have a little more context. But and the substance, from the sounds of it, was methamphetamine. So, any sort of relapse or lapse is pretty serious. Pretty big speed bump in recovery, or even sometimes a full detour, just completely fly off the road. and just trudge through mud and rocks, and it's a bumpy ride until you get back on the road. Actually, that's a good analogy. I like that analogy. Anyways, yeah. So while every lapse and relapse is pretty serious, especially more so with some of the heavier drugs, and I'm not judging. Don't get me wrong, but at least in my opinion, a relapse on methamphetamine is quite a bit more serious than alcohol. But that's just my opinion. And a relapse is a relapse, though. So it's all the same in a way, but I just feel that, I don't know. Especially being that I think it was one of that person's main drugs of destruction, as my counselor likes to say. So that's also kind of unfortunate. So what is really nice, and I'm really thankful that there is some sort of saving grace for this housemate, and I really do wish him well. I care for every one of the guys in the house. I want everyone to be successful in their recovery, just as much as I want to be successful in my recovery. And I'm just very fortunate for this house, because it isn't an Oxford house. It is a sober living house, but it's not Oxford. Whereas with Oxford, the first relapse, he would have been kicked out immediately. No exceptions or questions asked. Whether he self-reported or was caught, he'd have 15 minutes to get as much stuff as he can and leave. I don't know what interventions they did for this housemate here, the one that relapsed. I don't know what interventions were kind of applied or done for his first relapse with the alcohol. But with this one, they are still giving him a chance to stay in the house. However, there's going to be quite a lot of stipulations. Quite a few. That's kind of oxymoronic. So he had an assessment today. And had to follow their treatment recommendations, and from the sound of it, they recommended detox. And from what I've heard, he is currently now in detox, so he is taking that first step on that route of not redeeming himself, but to kind of get back on track and still stay here in the house. Which I'm really glad. I'm really glad there's, still some, because it's, people make mistakes. I've made tons of mistakes. I've lapsed I shouldn't even say lapse. A lot of it was relapse because I just kept continuing the same behaviors, for the most part. There'd be small changes, but obviously not enough for me to hold, even like a month of clean time until I moved in here. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't given that chance, because I had recently drank. I drank coming out of jail up until I moved in here. With Oxford, you have to be 30 days clean. So if I wasn't given that, I would say second chance, but that 1,000th chance, I wouldn't be doing so well. I guess I can't quite say. I don't know what would have happened, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that I probably would not be doing nearly as well as I've been doing, and not doing nearly as well in terms of my recovery, especially. So I'm really glad that, like I said, they're giving him another chance. But then I don't know how long the detox is going to be. It's funny. He went to the same facility that I used to work at, which was my last job before I got fired as a nurse. So that's interesting. I don't know how long he'll be in detox. My guess is 3 to 5 days, and then afterward, he is going to have some restrictions, or at least conditions, upon coming back to the house. I think the housing supervisor was saying a 7 p.m. curfew, meeting slips, so showing proof that he's going to meetings. Fortunately, in the house, it's an honor-based system, which I'm really thankful for. I mean, because with my meetings, as of recently, well, not super recently, I stopped going to the AA group on Thursdays. It was just a little too much. So as of late, my meetings have only been virtually. There's ways to get proof, get a slip, essentially slip. But I'm really glad that here they don't. Again, we're given that amount of trust, in that we are doing what we're supposed to do, because that is a requirement of the house and of treatment. At least where I attend, you need to attend at least 2 outside meetings, and they can be, AA, NA, Smart Recovery, Recovery Dharma. So yeah, I'm just really glad that I don't have to spend that extra effort just to say, hey, yeah, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But that's going to be another condition for him. He is going to have to get a sponsor. And just a really watched, I suppose, monitored, and probably more frequent UAs, more frequent drug testing. So I mean, that sucks. At least I've kind of been there, done that. It's tough when there's more restrictions and conditions piled on top of you. Especially, I wouldn't say I'm strongly, but I feel that a lot of people with addiction have at least some opposition or dislike of total authority. I guess maybe I'm just speaking for myself, and I wouldn't say very strongly, but I feel like a lot of people, they don't like to be told what to do, or how to live their life. So it is tough when some of those conditions are applied. But I mean, ultimately, it is for his best, and the best of the house too. I guess that's also why I'm angry and frustrated, because I mean, that's possibly putting other housemates at risk of relapse, or potentially endangering or affecting everyone's recovery here. It's disrespectful. And same to me when I drank and got kicked out of my Oxford house in February this year. Same thing. That was extremely disrespectful to the house and everyone in there. Very selfish. And that's also why that I'm feeling kind of that anger and feeling upset, because it reminds me of like myself, and just like so yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, I totally understand. It's just unfortunate, but again, I am thankful that there is still an avenue for him to be able to continue living in this house. Hopefully this is a good wake-up call, and that additional guidance will help him get back on track with his recovery, and continue to be successful. And I will say too, I'm also extremely glad that this house, the housing manager supervisor, he could be grumpy sometimes. No offense to him if he's ever watching this. I doubt it. But he, I mean, I don't think he would disagree with me. But he is fair. He's very fair and very passionate about running this house and maintaining the sanctity of this house. So that's one thing I really appreciate, that it's not just like, oh, well, you relapsed on alcohol, then weeks later you relapse on meth. Like, oh, well, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and stay here in the house, because, you know, that's such a slippery slope for everyone else in the house. Because it's like, oh, well, if there's no consequences, like, I'm gonna, you know, not definitely drink or use, but it's one less reason to not drink or use, if there's no consequences. You know, I'm more of a believer and fan of positive rewards or motivation versus negative. You know, like, hey, you did a great job, here's a cookie, versus, oh, hey, you didn't do a great job, you know, here's a spanking. But there's a time and place for both of those, of course. Like for me, I think one of the reasons why I've been doing well is the negative consequence of going to jail if I mess up. So, but yeah, it's really nice to know that this is a safe house. This is a safe environment. Our recovery is still supported, you know, with, I guess, the accountability of all of us is maintained. If that makes, maybe, I don't know. I'm sorry, like, this video is not very great, but I really do want to and honestly need to talk about this, and I do feel a little bit better, but still there's a flurry of thoughts and feelings that I will still have to process over the next few days. But I wish him well. I really hope that detox goes well for him. He's able to come back to the house, be able to do everything that is required, and to be able to get back on track and, you know, continue to live here. I really do hope and wish that happens. But I mean, he has a choice, like all of us. He can choose not to, you know, and that's his own prerogative. I'm not going to judge him for that. So, you know, at least he has that too. It's not like he's forced into doing all this. He doesn't have to, but, you know, that's going to be that's going to come with a lot of, consequence. So, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to speak on this. I do feel quite a bit better, after having spoken about this. I think I'm going to start unwinding for bed, because it is almost 10 o'clock. I would like to try and get some decent sleep. So, I almost feel like I might make a part 2 of this. I'm not going to title this part 1. But I almost feel that I might make a video tomorrow, and this same thing will be at least part of it, if not all of it, depending on how I feel. So I apologize to perseverate on this, but again, it's just something that it hits close to home. Well, I guess literally, because, you know, it is in our household. Sorry, I love dad jokes and bad puns. It's fun. I'm angry, but I'm also going to laugh. Yeah, it just hits close to home because it is in our home, and again, it's just very reminiscent of myself. I can relate too well to being in that position, and you know, I'm just angry at myself for just making terrible choices. Even after knowing better, even after having, you know, a route to pursue that you can make good choices. But I mean, that's addiction. I mean, that's addiction for you. And, you know, especially mental health, if you add that in the mix, it could be challenging. So, yeah, so I'm going to end it here. It's already 20 minutes. So, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for the views this week. I really appreciate it. I also, one last thing I'll say is I am looking forward to making another video with Arthur. He is currently busy. He's got some stuff going on, nothing bad, and I'm not going to go into detail for his privacy. But hopefully he'll be available and I'll be available and we can make some more videos together. I just really enjoy making videos with him. He's a cool dude. So yeah, so thank you everyone. Have a good evening, and I hope you are staying safe and living the best life you can. So I'll see you guys next time.